What's up, everybody? This is your host, Edward Ball. Welcome back to Punch Drunk Nerd, the podcast where three friends, three amigos, three bambinos usually come together to talk about nerd shit. But this week, it's just me, your host, Ed Ball. This is going to be one of those weird singular solo episodes, mostly because everything we're going to talk about is just stuff I wanted to talk about. Also, Luis is out on a business trip. No, he went to go see a concert. And Miguel is just busy. So it's going to be short and sweet this week. I'm just going to be touching up on a little bit of news, a little bit of let's talk about this now. And then we're going to catch up on what I've been into, which includes Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride, the Gorillaz Mountain album, and some other things too. So let's get right into it. I'm not going to mess around this episode. Let's start with Beef. We all remember the Netflix hit show. It came out a couple of years ago. The anthology series is coming out with a second season this time, with Oscar Isaac, Carey Mulligan, Cailee Spaeny, and Charles Melton. The story follows a Gen Z couple who witness an intense fight between their millennial boss, Oscar Isaac, and his wife, Carey Mulligan. This incident sparks a chaotic, high-stakes game of manipulation and revenge within an elite country club. It also stars Yoon Yoo-jung from the Oscar winner from Minari, and Song Kang-ho, who played the dad from Parasite. So that's pretty exciting. It looks fun. It's a solid cast. So that should be a lot of fun. And that comes out April 14th, I believe, on Netflix. So check that out. Next, we have a bunch of group chats, as everybody knows, and one of those group chats, our good friend Eric Jew brought up a question in regards to the awards, and specifically, he asked a question that subsequently became a debate between him and Stephen. Stephen, you will remember, was our guest last week, and I hopped onto the conversation a little too late, so I never really gave an answer. So Eric, Stephen, if you're listening now, these are my thoughts on that whole question. The question in particular was which award show between the BAFTAs, which is the essentially the British Academy Awards, and the Oscars, carries more weight and more gravitas these days. First off, I'm just going to get this right off the table. All award shows are subjective and self-serving popularity contests where the nominees tend to remain the same throughout the whole season, with very few surprises along the way. That hasn't stopped me from enjoying them, but that just is like the reality of it. So where you hold award shows, is you just take it with a grain of salt. It is what it is. But obviously, those steeped in the movie, TV, music, whatever world will be looking forward to those award shows at the end of the year, or in this case, 3 months into the new year. So the BAFTAs did just happen recently, and the Oscars are happening this weekend. By the time you're listening to this, it's happening on this Sunday. But first off, to answer the question, I mean, I'm British, so I will always have held the BAFTAs in high regards. It's the award show that I grew up watching. We didn't really watch the Oscars. I don't know if it was due to accessibility or what, but the BAFTAs we always did play because it had a bunch of British TV personalities that we knew, and like any other show, because it's like a home game show, they tend to have a home game bias. So they tend to award or tend to lean towards the more British nominees. For example, this last year, we had Robert Aramayo, who won Best Actor in the movie I Swear over the likes of Timothée Chalamet, Leo DiCaprio, Michael B. Jordan, all of which were nominated, and all of which have been, sweeping other awards, typically in America. But the BAFTAs also offer like the Best British Film alongside Best Picture, which tends to be the Best Picture tends to be like the more mainstream nominees. Hamnet, I believe, was nominated for Best Picture and Best British Film. It won Best British Film, whilst Best Picture went to one battle after another. So that's kind of how they balance it out. Is just like the Best Picture goes to the one that generally has been winning all the awards, whilst Best British Film might be somewhere along the lines of the second favorite in the line, because British tend to have their foot in the race, but also it tends to highlight both mainstream and independent British films, which obviously I like about it. For example, Best Picture nominees in the past have been like Paddington 2. Didn't see that in the Oscars race. Rye Lane, The Ballad of Wallace Island this last year, which made it on my top 10, and it was nominated for Best Picture, or rather Best British Film at the BAFTAs. Didn't win though, but my point is that it gives a broader scope to the movies, including independent films that you don't typically see at the Oscars. So because of that mix, I will always hold the BAFTAs in a higher, or higher than shows like the Golden Globes and maybe the SAGs and stuff like that, where it's a little bit more of the same old, if you will. But now, with that being said, that isn't to say it still isn't a popularity contest, but like with the Oscars, it's definitely, I would say, definitely since 2008, after the Dark Knight debacle, where they expanded the Best Picture nominee category simply to appease fans and have a further reach of audience with blockbuster movies, horror movies, indie movies, etc. It wasn't just 5 nominees. It could go anywhere from 5 to 9 now, or sorry, 5 to 10. But there's always going to be that like top 5 or top 3, even by the time you get down to it. For example, this year, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Hamnet are probably your top 3 movies that are going to be winning the major awards this year. And that tends to happen every award season. I feel like with the surge of social media and the way that movies are marketed these days, that it does feel even more than ever like a popularity contest. It's just like, who are the celebs that everybody's talking about? What are the moments that people are sharing and stuff like that on social media? So it's kind of blurred the lines a bit of prestige, especially again with the extra 5 to 10 category. The you're not nearly, I mean, for someone like me who memorizes the Oscars and the winners of the past 30-40 years, the you just don't remember the nominees like you used to. They don't stand out quite as much. Movies kind of just get lost in time. Movies just kind of get nominated because of hype or whatever, but never really pull anything out of the Oscars. And maybe that comes down to diversity. I mean, there's something seriously flawed with a system of patting yourself on the back, and at the end of the day, anyway. So, like I said, it's kind of like give and take. You get what you ask for, really. The Oscars are also more of uh, a like a show event. Like they have musical performances, they have acts, they have people coming out and doing bits, and God knows that kills so much time throughout the evening. And every year they keep talking about addressing it. It's a bit of a joke, but yeah, I guess what it comes down to though is that at the end of the award season, it always is topped with the Oscars, like it or not. And the Oscars are what people generally take away from movies. You could be nominated for an Oscar, or you can win an Oscar, and that's a stamp of approval, whether you agree with the winners or not. But uh, you know, movies, people have won Oscars, and that definitely counts for something in this industry. So at the end of the day, to sum it all up, is to answer the question, is simply like, yeah, the Oscars are that prestigious event, but and I would probably have the BAFTAs right down below it. So I hope that answers your question, Eric and Stephen, and I hope that puts to rest your quarrel about that. Speaking of Oscars, coming up on Sunday, I'm going to give maybe just some early thoughts about what's going to happen. I think we are teetering towards some surprises. One Battle After Another has steadily been winning Best Picture throughout the year. Hamnet occasionally winning here and there, and as well as Sinners just recently got big wins at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. That doesn't always translate to Oscar wins, but it is kind of like, kind of shows you where people might be leaning come the big day. So I think it's safe to say One Battle After Another is going to win Best Picture, Best Director. I think that's in the bag. I think if anybody is going to topple the Best Picture win, it's going to be between Sinners, which will be great, or Hamnet, which would be less great, for personal reasons. But I think those are the top three you want to keep an eye on. But especially One Battle After Another seems to have it locked. Now, original screenplay for sure is going to go for Sinners. Adapted screenplay for sure is going to go to One Battle. Best Actor, though, in the last week, there's been some speculation on whether Timothée Chalamet has it in the bag for sure. The opera and ballet controversy, everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say that. But the Oscar votes were already in before this happened, so who knows? However, there does seem to be like a little buzz around Sinners, and people wanting to see it do well. So I think a nice surprise of the evening would be if Best Actor went to Michael B. Jordan. As much as I think Timothée Chalamet gave like a fantastic performance in Marty Supreme, and I wouldn't be mad if he did win, frankly, despite his things that he does for the public and the media. But I think that's a safe top two. I don't think Leo's really in the conversation, as much as a great performance that was. I really wanted Jesse Plemons to be nominated, but he wasn't. So I think it really does come down to Timothée Chalamet. I think he still has the edge, but potentially Michael B. Jordan could pop up and take that win. I would say the same about the Best Actress award. If anything is locked, Jessie Buckley is going to win Best Actress, without a doubt in my mind, or anybody else's, I'm sure. Best Supporting Actor and Actress, however, is an even more interesting conversation. I would love to see Amy Madigan win for Weapons. Whether that's going to happen or not, I do not know. Because she walked away with the SAG. She also won the Critics' Choice Award, but it's kind of been a mixed bag. It could be Tiana Taylor, it could go to Sinners. Who knows? Sentimental Value is there with two nominees, but they may have split the vote with that one, so it could go either way. But those other three for sure are in the conversation. But I would love to see Amy Madigan win. So that would be my vote. And then Best Supporting Actor has kind of been the same way, with Sean Penn maybe taking the edge at this stage. Jacob Elordi won the Critics' Choice. But Sean Penn might actually walk away with this one, which would be his third Oscar. So, good for him. And, God help us if he ends up coming to the award show and has to give a speech. That'll be very fun indeed. So I think that just about wraps up my thoughts on the Oscars. Obviously, we'll talk about it afterwards. And I believe we're going to give our own little punchy awards to match that. Give out little awards to either movies that we wanted to give recognition to or just like some fun categories. So listen out for that. Moving swiftly on, I talked. I saw The Bride. Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Bride, and this was one I was really looking forward to. Jessie Buckley, who is going to be Academy Award-winning Jessie Buckley soon, and Christian Bale led this one, and this looked like it was going to be a fun, unique, and original take on the Frankenstein Bride of Frankenstein story, and whilst I was excited for this, it saddens me to say that I came out very disappointed. I think what they had here was a very unique and exciting idea, and this movie is full of ideas, like to the brim of ideas, but they all come out feeling rather hollow or with nowhere to go. Just a whole list of ideas that just never really bear any fruit, unfortunately. They waste no time of just setting up the world, or at least just getting into the story. We meet Jessie Buckley's bride, who very quickly dies, and Christian Bale, along with Annette Bening's doctor, bring her back to life. And it all happens at a rapid pace. And I think you lose a little bit of character development there. There is a lot of levels, a lot of layers to Jessie Buckley's character, who we'll just call the bride, but they're never fully realized. She has like this quirk or tick where you have to assume is she's playing Mary Shelley inside her conscience or in her head, like a voice talking to her in her head or talking through her. Because every now and again she'll break out into a British accent, and a very vulgar one at that. So all that to say is, like, there are some really interesting and exciting ideas and some exciting moments that just kind of either dwindle after a moment. Like, there are moments where I was like locked in, and then boom, poof, flat. Just doesn't really make the most of it. And the aesthetically, this movie is solid. The look, the makeup, the costumes, the sets, the cinematography, really good. Like, I don't think there's a fault technically about this movie. And Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale do a great job with what they have. Fortunately, they're both very dynamic actors and fun to watch, especially in these two roles as it happens. And Buckley in particular brings so much to the character, but the story and the script really let them both down. And there's no real essence of who that character is, really, where she came from or whatever. There's no depth to it. It's all really just it's all surface level, and that applies to the whole movie. Every other character, and I'm talking specifically, you've got Peter Skarsgård. I think that's right. Peter Sarsgaard, Maggie Gyllenhaal's husband, and Penelope Cruz, who play like this cop investigator duo. Their characters are so awfully written. It's just cringy to be around them. And then every other side character too. Jake Gyllenhaal shows up in this, but does not have much to do at all. It's just, it felt like the script just never made it past the ideas phase, and they were just like, yeah, let's just go with this. This will be great. This will be cool. And visually, yes, it is cool, but if you don't if it doesn't have any substance to it, it just kind of feels hollow, and you're just kind of wondering why they're bothering to tell this story, if only just for the aesthetics. And so, yeah, overall, very disappointing. I was really looking forward to it. I saw it on the IMAX even, and that didn't even lift it up so much. There are some really good moments, like I said, that start off strong, but it just kind of dwindles and then gets a little repetitious as it goes on. So, yeah, I mean, go check that out if you want, or don't at this point. It's just a shame because you got a lot of talent there just not being utilized to the best of their abilities. I think some revisions on the script would have helped. So there it is. There's The Bride. Lastly, I've just been. I did see The Secret Agent, the last of the Best Picture nominees that I've been meaning to see. And it's very good. It's playing limitedly across theaters right now, so I'd recommend you go see it. It is in Portuguese. It is kind of long, so be prepared for that. It's also on Disney Plus, as I found out just today, but I saw it in theaters, as I am known to do. And then lastly, I just want to give a shout out to the Gorillaz' latest album, The Mountain, which is such a joyous album. If you're a fan of the Gorillaz, you might love this. This is the latest kind of concept album of. There's a lot of collaboration going on throughout the album. Each song has a different collaboration, and they released a short animated music video, if you will, a little mishmash of 3 of the songs, including The Mountain, Moon Cave, and The Sad God, all bangers of songs individually by themselves, but with the music video, which you can find on YouTube, it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous animation. So I would implore you to go check that out on a big screen. Check out the album, those songs that I just listed, but also Manifesto, Damascus, Casablanca, all really good songs. I love the Gorillaz personally. So this was a really nice return to form. I'd say this is my favorite album of theirs since Plastic Beach. So take that how you will, but go check it out. And they'll be touring the States later this year. So I wasn't lying when I said this was going to be a quick one, folks. This was just a lovely. What are we even at? 22 minutes. I'm not going to bore you by talking more and more. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry it's one of those awkward solo episodes, but blame Luis and Miguel. I showed up to talk about what I wanted to talk about. So there. So join us next week where we will be talking about the aftermath of the Oscars, but we don't talk about it too much because we know that doesn't get a lot of clicks. But we, like I said, we'll be doing our very own Punchy Awards where we celebrate the movies that we want to celebrate. We might be catching Project Hail Mary, which comes in theaters this weekend, along with so much more. So stay tuned, follow us, all of that jazz. And for now, it's been me, Edward Ball. Until next time, later Gators, how's that?